Yo, what's up, guys? I'm Brett. Welcome back to Pitch Pass Podcast.
Hey guys, I'm Brando. Thank you for tuning in.
Today we are going to be going over the best, most exciting division in football, the AFC South. Woo! Just kidding. But they do have a couple of good teams this year. Well,
Yeah,
they have one good team and two teams with good pieces. But yeah,
the Colts are actually a pretty good team and should be a dark horse to maybe make a nice little playoff push.
speaking of the Colts, that's the first team we're going to jump into. Um, I really loved the Matt Ryan signing. I think that was a
Yeah, the
really
Matt
good.
Ryan trade was fantastic.
Yeah. I think he's definitely expensive, but I think that if you provide him, I mean, he put up numbers for what, like 6 years in Atlanta. He was like the best quarterback, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Um, the Super Bowl loss was unfortunate, and I feel like that's something Atlanta is still recovering from because it's nearly impossible to choke that badly. Um, I like some of what the Colts have done offensively, but the things that concern me are they have a weak receiving core. They have no tight ends. Um, but I love what they've done with their defense, and obviously I love Jonathan Taylor, and I think Matt Ryan still has more to give and a lot to prove. So I completely agree. I think the Colts are going to be a dark horse to come out of the division. Let me just look here. They have DeForest Buckner, Quentin Nelson, Yannick Ngakwe,
Mhm.
Darius Leonard, Stephon Gilmore. Like they
Hopefully
have.
40K can make a jump in year two.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is a and like you said, Stephon Gilmore, Kenny Moore is
Mm-hmm.
the best slot defender in the NFL.
Yeah,
Julian Blackman is an absolutely great safety, especially in today's age when you play a lot of cover two and a lot of shell looks.
I really like
Um,
Taekwon Lewis too. I hope he has a good year.
yeah, and also I loved the drafting Bernard Raymond to play left tackle for them, replace what they lost, really
Mm-hmm.
solidify that offensive line again. Like this team is so solid just across the board. There really isn't a whole lot of holes. I liked that they drafted Nick Cross from Maryland, a
Yes.
20-year-old safety. And when you look at their defense, there really isn't many holes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a high-end edge rusher is what you needed, and they went and got Yannick Ngakwe, so maybe that'll be it.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that I like that they did, and I feel like this didn't get talked about enough, is they got Alec Pierce. And while he might not have been like one of the top noted, like I don't even think he was in the top 10 receiver projected for his class. But something I really like about him is his size.
Yeah, he's 6'3".
Yeah, I think he'll be really good for some of those contested catches. And like I said, because they're kind of
Matt
weak
Ryan.
at tight end, I think that'll be really, really good for them. Matt Ryan spent a lot of his career with Julio, so I mean, having a big body receiver who's able to win some of those 50-50s. I think that, what's his name? Pittman is really good,
6'4".
but I think just having another big body receiver will really help him to feel more comfortable in the passing game without the presence of a really strong number one tight end.
Honestly, I imagine the goal line look of having Alec Pierce, Michael Pittman, and then fucking
John.
Julian Woods from fucking Virginia, the rookie they drafted.
Hmm.
6'7", 6'4", 6'3". Imagine that look on the goal line and
Yeah,
with Jonathan Taylor. Like, that's just so hard to match up against.
I'm gonna be really interested to see
Guys.
how Jelani Woods kind of develops and does over the season. I honestly forgot they
I
drafted a
like
tight
him.
end because it was a little bit later in the draft. Um,
Yeah, and honestly, I like him a lot. I think he's gonna be a very solid tight end for them going forward. Good red zone threat. They also still have Mo Alley Cox. We'll see
mhm.
how he plays now that he's the number one tight end. It's gonna be interesting to really watch this Colts team. I think the skill position players are definitely the big question mark.
Mhm.
Does Paris Camp Campbell stay healthy, and what does he bring to the table? Can Alec Pierce develop and be on the field often enough as a rookie to really help
I think
Michael
so.
Pittman Jr.?
Hmm.
I think Michael Pittman is just the biggest, like, who you're the most confident in outside of
Yeah,
Jonathan Taylor
absolutely.
in the skill position group. Like, you know he's going to, like, ball out. He's going to be a
Yeah.
good wide receiver this year.
He
And
had
Matt
over
Ryan,
1,000 yards last year with that
the Carson
situation.
ones.
Yeah, so um, and with Jonathan Taylor taking so many touches, to
As he
still
should
have
have.
over, oh, absolutely, but still like to be that efficient with an inefficient quarterback and the stud running back of the year. I think that's really impressive, and I think that kind of speaks to what his potential ability is going forward, and I hope we can see more of that out of him.
Yeah. Wherever the Carson Wentz bird dies, the Nick Foles Phoenix will rise. I love that they just signed Nick Foles. I love that Nick Foles is like the grim, like the calm after the storm of having Carson Wentz be your starting quarterback is Nick Foles.
Hey man,
You know, Nick
he
Foles
can
is also
he can
a
back up.
hurricane. At least you know what you're getting. Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
he
a
can absolutely.
Nick Foles in for me is the greatest backup quarterback of all time.
uh, I
Greatest
mean,
backup quarterback of all time.
I think that's fair to say. Um, I can't think of any
He's
off the top of my head. Well,
like, and times when he's been a starter, he has been very good.
yeah.
Like,
Are you counting like guys that sat on the bench like behind someone while they were developing as backups or no? Because
um, I'm not counting guys like Aaron
in
Rodgers or
Mahomes,
Steve
okay,
Young
all right.
or
That's
Mahomes. Yeah, I'm not counting those guys.
I was gonna say because we don't really know what a lot of those guys looked like their first year in the league, so I would still probably tend to agree with you, but I think they had more talent. But yeah, I completely agree. I think he's probably the best backup that we've seen at least in a long time.
Just fantastic. We stand McFoles. Okay, so speaking of standing Nick Foles, go to a team that Nick Foles
Wait,
swindled.
we didn't do over under.
Oh, I almost forgot the over under.
I got
Thank
you. I
you, my
got you.
friend.
You're welcome.
Let's go to their FanDuel real quick. Let's go pull up
Let's
their
check
over
this out.
under and let's see where they're at right now.
I think it should go without saying that we both feel very strongly that barring serious injury to their core pieces, the Colts win this division. No question.
Oh, the Colts should win this division.
Yeah.
Like they're only like they have minimal competition.
Hmm.
The only way we'll talk about the Jags here in a minute, but they're not likely to really be competition.
Yeah.
The Texans are not likely to be competition.
Nah. The
And let's
Titans,
be real, the Titans are very one dimensional.
if Derrick Henry gets injured, now that they don't have AJ Brown anymore, like uh, you have some great younger pieces coming up, right? And you drafted a quarterback. That's great, but with your current established setup, I don't think it's gonna work. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So
What was the over under?
I am pulling it up right now for the Indianapolis Colts. It is 9.5 wins.
I'll take the over on that.
I'm gonna look at their schedule real quick before I say anything. That is always gonna be. So I'm gonna go with. They do play the Chiefs here in
Yep.
Indianapolis
They play
and
Texans,
Denver.
Jags, Chiefs, Titans, Broncos, Jags, Titans, Commanders, Patriots, Raiders, Eagles, Steelers, Cowboys, Vikings, Chargers, Giants, and Texans. I take them at least 10 wins. I put the over. They're going to win.
So I think over two. I think they can honestly pull off the upset against Denver.
Yeah. Well, I think they beat the Texans, no question. They
I think they beat the
probably
Texans twice.
they probably beat
Maybe
the
split
Jags.
with the other two.
I think they probably lose to the Chiefs, but I'm not sure. I think just I it's gonna be a damn good game.
I think they lose to the Chiefs, I think they beat. I think game one they beat the Texans.
Hmm.
Game two, I think they beat the Jags. I think they lose to the Chiefs, beat the Titans, probably beat the Broncos in an upset,
Hmm.
probably lose to the Jags the second time.
Hmm.
I don't think they can sweep the Jags for some weird reason.
I, yeah.
Probably also lose a game to the Titans.
Oh, I don't think.
They're
I don't
gonna
know.
lose-
We'll see.
Actually, I could probably see them also sweeping the Titans.
Yeah.
Beat the Commanders. They're gonna beat the brakes off Carson Wentz.
Yeah.
Probably beat the
Absolutely.
Patriots. Raiders. That game's gonna be a toss up.
Hmm.
Eagles. I think they lose to the Eagles.
Okay. I think they have
Pittsburgh.
the Eagles have a lot of weapons this year. I'm excited to get to their division.
Yeah, AJ Brown is gonna come back and play Indy again.
Hmm.
Um, Pittsburgh. I think they can beat Pittsburgh.
Hmm.
Cowboys. I think they lose that game.
I think they beat the Cowboys bad.
I think. I think the Cowboys beat them.
I don't know. We'll
The
have to
Cowboys.
see on that one.
Yeah, we will wait to see on that one. Vikings, I think they beat the Vikings. Chargers,
Yes,
I think they lose to the Chargers.
I agree.
I think the Chargers will just decimate them. I don't think it's gonna be close. I think the Chargers are legitimately the Death Star of the AFC this year.
There's potential. They just need to take that next step. We need to see Justin Herbert take that next step. That's all.
Justin Herbert is insane.
I
If you
agree
just
with
want,
that statement.
if
We just
you,
need to see that.
yeah, okay. Colts, Giants. I think the Giants defense. I think the Giants are better than people are going to give them credit for.
But they still lose this, no
This is going to be a
question.
no. I think this is going to be a sneaky win for the Giants.
Nah, okay, nah, nah, nah.
It has potential.
Okay,
It has
I'll give you
potential.
potential because I think their defense is really good too, and I think that the culture that they're creating towards that more old school style of New York football, kind of centering around that defense and a run game, I think that'll really help them. But I don't think they win this.
I do think they get the 10 wins in their schedule, but man, I wouldn't put my money on it
Hmm.
because I think there's some iffy games, man.
Yeah.
If there's if things don't bounce the right way for the Colts, they could definitely miss out on the playoffs. Even I could see it.
Mm, no, I don't.
Not
I don't.
really.
Yeah, I was
No,
gonna
it's
say I
still
don't
too
see anyone in
confident.
this division beating them out. But
Yeah. The only way, like, there's really isn't. The only way is even if Matt Ryan goes down,
Nick
and then
Foles.
I was like, Nick Foles is decent enough to
Yeah.
actually do some damage.
Yeah. Um. Well, speaking
Yeah,
of other teams in the division and sneaky good defenses, let's talk about the Jags.
Jags. I love the Jaguars. I think Trevor Lawrence is gonna have a much better year two with Doug Peterson as their head coach.
Hmm.
We'll see him actually running legitimate NFL schemes in the past game.
Hmm.
I'm happy they got Christian Kirk. He excels throwing it to the slot. Christian Kirk is a great player in the slot, especially being able to extend the field vertically from the inside. They still have defensive end Josh Allen,
The
who's an
better Josh Allen.
absolute the better Josh Allen, who actually led to them winning against the Bills last year.
Hmm.
They signed Brandon Sheriff from the Commanders, great offensive lineman. Evan Ingram,
Yep, that's exactly what I was about to bring up. Yep.
they signed him a tight. They signed him a tight end. That's gonna be an interesting one to watch this year. Trevor Lawrence, Arden Key can play opposite of Josh Allen.
Hmm.
Like I think this team could be sneaky good.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna be, or I don't think they're gonna be like world beaters by any means, but I do think they are gonna be competitive at the
Yep.
very least.
I think they're gonna have some good games this year, and they're really gonna showcase some of that young talent. Um, One of the question marks that I feel like everybody has, and I know probably you and I both have, Trayvon
Yes, yes,
Walker
yeah.
at number one.
No, Trayvon Walker at number one. At first, I really questioned it like a lot,
Hmm.
but man, I
You're
just
on the
I think
bandwagon?
he's on the bandwagon. I think him opposite of Josh Allen's gonna be nasty. I think he's a terrific athlete, plays
Mm-hmm.
well against the run. They could develop the pass rush moves. I like it. The more and more I think about it, I like it. I would have personally, I still would have taken Kayvon Thibodeau.
Okay.
It's just me
I
because I think
agree.
he's ready right now, and I think he's about the same level of athlete.
I think they did
But
it because Trayvon Walker has like everybody says he has the higher ceiling to achieve. I think that's
yeah,
why. He's like the
I don't even
bigger
think,
risk factor.
yeah, I don't even think the ceiling is that much different between the two. Honestly,
I would completely
I
agree with you, but it's the Jags. I'm happy they didn't draft
I'm happy they didn't
something
draft Aiden
awful.
Hutchinson because I think Aiden Hutchinson, if he needs, I like him. I love that he went to Detroit
Mm-hmm.
because I love when players can go home.
Yes, same. That makes me
I'm
very happy.
I don't think he would have worked in Jacksonville. I think he could work in Detroit.
Yeah.
I don't think he would have worked in Jacksonville, weirdly enough.
Um.
But I still wish, for Trevor Lawrence's sake,
Mhm.
they would have drafted a wide receiver early on to fucking grow with him.
Yeah. I mean, even the second pick in the first round, I love Devin Lloyd. I had him pretty high on my board, but
He's a good linebacker, but you literally just signed one for a lot of money in free agency. How much is
yeah,
that really moving the needle for you?
yeah. I don't know. I think I don't know. I couldn't tell you what some of these teams are thinking going into the draft. Um, where do you think the Jags rank in their division? Pull up that schedule.
With the schedule they play, which also I hate that they played the extra preseason game,
Hmm.
or probably the Hall of Fame game. One starting the year with the Commanders, I think they will roll the Commanders. Honestly,
I
I
agree.
think the Commanders gonna be bad
Yeah, same.
against the Colts. It's at Jacksonville. You know, Florida, September. Weird shit happens.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. I, it can be fun and flirty. Then they play the Chargers on the 25th of
That's
September,
death.
and they will be just massacred. It will not be close.
Yeah.
There will be no turning back at any point in this game. Justin Herbert, will be just throwing absolute missiles to Mike Williams, just dunking on whoever's trying to guard him.
I think we're gonna get to the point where they take their starters out halfway through.
Maybe. And then they play the Eagles. I think they have the horses to make things interesting in that game.
Yeah.
They have a good defensive line,
Hmm.
and that could maybe be what really turns it around in that game.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is not as good of a thrower of the football as Justin Herbert.
No, absolutely not.
Let's be straight about that. He's just not. I believe in Jalen Hurts as a quarterback,
Yeah.
and for the money he's making, I'm taking him over a good portion of NFL quarterbacks.
That's fair. I agree with that.
Um, so that game's a toss-up. Texans, I think the Jaguars could beat the Texans. I
Yeah.
think Trevor Lawrence is just better than Davis Mills.
I
Davis
agree.
Mills, I think, is underrated, though. I think Davis Mills is actually a decent quarterback if you build around him.
Hmm. If you look at like how he performed compared to the other rookie quarterbacks last
He
year,
was the best rookie
yep.
quarterback
And if you consider everything that they had going on last year, uh,
for real. Like,
not bad.
I'd take him over Mac Jones and Zach Wilson.
I
I stand
Mac
by it. I
Mac
would take him
Jones,
over both.
yes. Zach Wilson, give me a year to grow on that.
I'll still do it
Um,
regardless. Give me that neck.
I just realized. Okay, all right. Something I realized we forgot to mention. There are rumors, and this is back for the Colts. Sorry, we forgot about this. Um, there are rumors for the Colts that Terry McLaurin is interested in playing with Matt Ryan. With the
That would be
Colts.
dope for them. They
Yeah.
would absolutely love that. Um, Also, side note, shout out to, let me get to his name, Ari Willis, who retired today to become a preacher, to become a father, become a priest, join the
Hang
priesthood.
follow your dreams, and if that's what you feel like you were called to do, then
Yep.
nothing but the best of luck and
Go
blessings
for
to
it,
you.
my brother in Christ, or whatever you do. I'm personally an atheist, but I'm cool with what you doing, whatever you do, homie. Now, I that would be very cool if Terry McLaurin can end up with the Colts.
Yeah,
Just wondering what they're willing to give up for him
yeah, I agree.
and what the Commanders are willing to take for him. I love that as soon as Carson Wentz gets there, he just
He's
wants
ready to
no
go.
business.
Yeah. Well, I think
No
there
business.
was a tweet from a while ago, where I can't remember. It was some receiver tweeted about like the culture in Indy, and they were talking about how he's probably the greatest wide receiver coach of all time. And that was the first tweet that he liked, and then he's talked more about since. But um,
Well, it would also make sense because Terry McLaurin is from the area as well. He went to
yeah.
high school in Indy.
He went. Didn't he go to college there too, or no?
He went to Ohio State.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
But
That's right. That's
still
right.
close.
But his
Close Ohio
agent is
isn't too.
there. There's. I know there's something else. Was it the agent is centered there? I know there's something else. I just can't think of
Maybe.
what it is.
I know his family probably still is around here, honestly.
That might be it.
Um, so I think the Giants, I feel like that's gonna be a toss up. I feel like they can beat the Giants.
Hmm.
Broncos, they'll probably lose against the Broncos.
I
I
agree.
just don't think they match up well. Probably will lose to the Raiders. Probably you're gonna lose to the Chiefs. Same
Oh
with the
yeah.
Ravens. They can beat Detroit.
Yeah, I could see it.
Beat Detroit. Titans, they can beat Titans. Cowboys, they'll probably lose.
Yeah,
Jets, they can beat the Jets. They'll beat the Jets, honestly.
I agree with that.
Texans, they can probably beat, and
Hmm.
Titans, they can probably beat. I haven't seen beating the Titans twice, honestly. I
I
honestly am not high in the Titans at all.
yeah, I'm
And
not
I'm
super
going
high
to lie.
either.
I
I
want to be
just
more sold on them than I am.
I want to give them a 50-50. Uh, with the
But
Titans, I don't think they win both of them, but I don't think they lose both of them either.
I am also going to now pull up Jacksonville Jaguars win total for the season, and that is at 6.5. So for them to win seven
Oof.
games, and I think
Um,
they win 7 games.
I think they win seven, exactly seven, but I don't know if I'd be willing to put money on it. I have it. I looked at 6.5 as well. That's kind of where I had it.
I'll take
Um,
it. And we'll see. I'll bet money on 6.5.
yeah, I think they have the potential to hit seven, but I also think that like,
Honestly, what's the bet for the Jags to win their division?
oh, I don't know, but that
Plus
would probably,
700. Plus
yeah.
700. That's worth it. That's worth it. Like a $10 bet for the Jags at plus 700 is $70.
All right, look. So the reason I would say no to that is just
It's
because
because the Colts are primed to have a good season. I am
yes, but
have a great, much better roster.
say you're a
I
fucking
am just
fortune teller.
running with Trevor Lawrence.
Say you're a fortune teller, right? And you can see that, God forbid, and I'm knocking on wood because nobody wants this to happen, but just say that you could see an injury that really puts a damper on the Colts season. I still think that with the culture that is in Tennessee,
Well, it's still be fine.
I still think
Oh,
that
Tennessee, yeah.
I still think that the Colts are able to get a top two seed in their division with
Yeah.
Nick Foles, if not number one. And then Tennessee's defense and kind of the culture that they've created, I still think Derrick Henry is enough to carry them to a two seed at worst, unless he's injured. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but you know, 6.5 wins is not unrealistic for this roster for this division. I really don't think this is. I think it's definitely doable. I think they fucking smoke the Commanders. I agree with that. Um, against the Colts, uh, that would be a tough game to win. I'm not saying it's not doable, but it's gonna be tough. Chargers not winning, but a lot of these games like you win the majority of games within your division. You win at least half the games within your division. Um, and then I think you can beat up on teams like the Lions or Jets or potentially the Cowboys. I think that they definitely have a solid potential to get 6, 7 wins for sure.
Yeah.
You ready for the Texans?
I am
Ooh.
very ready for the Texans, my friend. And I am telling you, I am very excited to just watch just anything happen with this Texans roster.
Yeah.
Because they should have a lot of draft picks from that Deshaun Watson saga.
Yeah.
They have so many holes on this roster. It won't really matter. They can just draft almost any position in the next couple of years and it'll start for them.
Yeah. True.
And if they're smart, they'll just keep trading back as often as they can, just accumulate as many picks as possible because this is a long-term rebuild.
Yes.
You know what this roster has? Doesn't have too low of a floor of talent.
True.
If you look at their talent, like there's just, the ceiling is of a ranch house.
Yeah.
Like it's not very high, but
Yeah.
that's about where the basement is too. Like it's not super low either. Like they are price a 7-win team.
I don't know if
At
they're
most.
that high. Yeah, at most.
But
I
they're
would
a competitive
say 6 is probably realistic. We can go through and look at the schedule in a minute. But in terms of this draft, they did a few things that confused me. But that was mostly in the later rounds. But honestly, I feel like they pretty much addressed most of the stuff that they really needed to. I was a little bit confused by the Derek Stingley pick. I don't know why they drafted
love
Stingley first. I love him too, but I mean, wasn't there were other options available, you know.
Hey, I get it. I get taking Derek Stingley. You go if Derek Stingley is the best defensive player on your board right there and then, why not go for it? I completely stand by the Derek Stingley pick. He was for them the top corner in this class, and when his freshman year at LSU,
CEO of Mayberry Homes
there was not.
With amateur bank, if the future is going to
Sorry, there were for some reason that went off.
It's all good.
He was his freshman year at LSU. He was the most valuable defensive player in the entire country. If you look at the WAR metric, like he was fantastic. He's a great athlete, and you take a risk on a guy like that if you're the Texans that high in the draft.
Sauce was still available though.
I'm still taking Stingley.
I I think that was like the big question that I had at the top of their draft. I don't really think anything else they did badly. I think Kenyon Green is really gonna help.
The pass rush.
Yeah. Um, I don't hate any of their.
He's
I
not
think
really help offensive
getting
line.
John Mechie was really really good for them.
John Mechie is going to be such a good wide receiver. I
Yeah.
think he he's like a Robert Woods type, to where he's a great route runner.
Hmm.
He can run. He's good at different points in the field, and he's a very willing blocker.
And if you
Just
have
a
him,
master of all trades.
if you have him as your wide receiver too, you're probably in a really good spot.
Yeah, and he's gonna be a wide receiver 2, wide receiver 3. It's gonna be Brandon Cooks, John Mechie, Nico Collins,
Yeah.
and you know what? And Brevin Jordan as their tight end. It's not a terrible wide receiver core. It's
I
a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
Very young, but it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, it definitely could be worse. Um, Brandon Cooks has a lot of experience. He's been around a little bit. Um,
Bunch
but
of 1,000-yard seasons,
yeah, for sure.
like
Like
a million,
his floor and ceiling are like
1,000 yard.
yeah,
You're just right there. He is a 1,000-yard receiver. He's gonna be number one, and he's gonna get moved around in that offense for him, and they're gonna try their best to get the ball in his hands as much as possible.
yes. Um,
And
the experience and knowledge that he brings are invaluable to some of those younger receivers. So just like
yeah,
helping them with even if it's like positioning or with expression on a route, like trying to get the defender to lean a certain way or to be able to push off without getting a call, just having some of that knowledge is really, really going to help the younger roster. Um, I don't hate the pieces that the Texans have. I really don't. But the
yeah.
team as a whole is just not good enough for that division.
No, it's not, and they're probably gonna finish last in the division, but
Yeah.
that's okay because they're still
They're rebuilding. Yep.
rebuilding, and they're gonna get there. They will get there.
And the elephant in the room to address, um, and
Yeah,
we've
Deshaun
talked about
Watson.
this,
Them supplying NPAs.
as new details come forward, yeah, them not only providing hotel rooms and linking services, but having the masseuses sign NDAs, um, that they handled this just about as shittily as any human being could have handled this situation. They enabled the behavior of a predator. They pawned him off to the Browns, and I feel kind of conflicted about how the trade went with the Browns because if they knew that they were signing up to get a predator and they were still willing to give that much for him, I honestly hope
I know.
they get what's coming to them as well.
Did they really do their due diligence, as they said?
Yeah, yeah. And for the Texans, I very strongly feel that the Texans should lose their picks that they traded
That they
for
got.
Deshaun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they should. Those picks should have to be vacated. But
They
whatever happens,
yeah.
Roger Goodell, it's your ball is in your court, Mr. Goodell. That is why you get paid the big bucks, sir.
Yeah.
And honestly, I wish I had worse things to say about the last team in this division's draft class. I honestly really like the Titans draft.
Yeah, same. The rounds 5 and 6, I don't know so much about only because I don't really recognize those names. But
Okay, I'm gonna start with the biggest one. The guy that supposedly Ryan Tannehill isn't going to mentor. The fact that they got Malik Willis in the
you're on the Titans. Sorry, I was looking at the Texans, so that's my fault. My bad.
oh no, yeah, the Titans. The fact that they got fucking Malik Willis as late as they did, that's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
They got the long term replacement for Ryan Tannehill.
Mhm.
They they also got Traylon Burks, who is a freaky athlete. Okay,
Yes.
I think some of the stuff about him not being able to finish that first practice is a little overblown. I think it's not that big of a deal. We saw him at Arkansas, Moss dudes in the SEC. He's gonna be fine. They got an offensive tackle from Ohio State, which is fantastic.
Mhm.
Roger McCreary is a good outside corner. I love Hassan Haskin. Really big, physical running back.
Mhm.
Reminds me a little bit of a Brandon Jacobs with just a big running back with a high up running style that's going to still run through you.
Yeah.
He is very much could take Derrick Henry's job if Derrick Henry gets hurt again.
God forbid. Long live
God
King
forbid.
Henry.
And then there's Kyle Phillips, the next great white slot receiver.
Mhm.
So I really like their draft. Free agency.
He came out of UCLA, right?
Yep, he did come
Yeah.
out of UCLA.
Okay.
Good slot receiver from UCLA. Also, when they got Robert Woods to play on the outside, that was a good signing. They signed Austin Hooper. This team is the Colts' biggest threat for the division title.
I completely agree with that.
I I don't think they will, just because I don't. I saw Derrick Henry's decline when he came back from the injury.
hmm
I'm wondering if the mileage is now starting to finally catch up.
It's possible,
And
but that was also a very rushed rehab and an attempt to get your team through the playoffs run that they didn't really deserve to be in.
yeah, but even with that, even if he comes back and he was the same player he was, is this offense still good enough to compete and get a playoff spot in the AFC with how
It's
competitive the AFC is this
nah,
year?
pretty unlikely.
Because I think that's part of the reason why you draft Malik Willis, right? Because you want a guy who's going to be able to score with all these fucking highlight reel quarterbacks that are
Yeah,
in your conference now.
yeah. Davis Mills, woo!
Yeah, Davis Mills, but fucking Malik Willis. Imagine if you had. So the Titans' schedule, they start the year against the Giants. They'll probably beat the Giants week 1.
hmm
Week 2, they go up against the Buzzsaw. They go up against the Bills.
Yeah,
Probably lose that game. Then they go to the West Coast and they play the Raiders in Las Vegas.
their
You
schedule's
know, it's
tough,
at,
man.
it's at Nashville. Sorry, it's at Tennessee. So the Raiders, I think the Raiders are probably going to beat them. I think the Raiders are a really good team.
I think so too.
And they play the Colts. That'll be a close game. They play the Commanders. They'll beat the Commanders.
hmm
Play the Colts again. They'll be close. They play the Texans. They'll probably beat the Texans.
hmm
They play the Chiefs.
Yeah,
That'll be
I
an
think
interesting
they
game.
lose it. I think they lose against the Chiefs. I
Probably.
it's yeah.
They beat the Rams last year
Yeah,
without Derrick Henry or
I
AJ Brown.
know, but I don't know, man.
Hey, just saying. Then they play the Broncos. An interesting game.
hmm
They play the Packers.
That should
They'll
be
probably
another
lose that
loss.
game.
Yeah.
They probably won't be able to score that game. Honestly, they
Yeah,
probably honestly won't be able to score.
true.
The Bengals. That'll be an interesting game, especially since how many sacks they had on Joe Burrow last year
Yeah, for real.
and still lost. Um, then they play the Eagles
hmm
at Philly. I think that's gonna be a loss.
Uh, yeah, I think I agree.
Then they play the Jags for the first time. Then they run into another buzzsaw. They're gonna get taken to the woodshed by the Chargers in Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
that's just an evisceration waiting to happen.
Yeah, I just God, I need to look at the Chargers' schedule. Is there really any team outside their division that can stop them?
Not really. I think we looked at it before, but
Yeah,
the Titans have a pretty decently outside of the Chargers, they have like the last
not
5 games are really not bad.
yeah, because then they play the Texans. They can beat the Texans. Cowboys, that'll be an interesting game. Them and Dallas will be interesting.
hmm
And then Jaguars again. They should be able to beat Jaguars.
Yeah.
So let's look at their over under. Let's see. What is your over under, Jaguars? Don't make me log back in. Oh, sorry everyone.
That's
FanDuel's
okay.
making me log back in.
And while you're doing that, I think the Titans definitely do have some good pieces to their roster. I think a lot of their roster is kind of getting older though, so it's good that they're kind of getting in some of this new talent. They're actually using those picks. I really like Roger McCreary. I think that's a like value second round pick. I don't think he's gonna be like fantastic,
Mm-hmm.
but I definitely think he's startable. Um, the Titans allowed the second most receiving yards and receptions to wide receivers last season, per ESPN. So having
So
that,
getting a good outside corner is going to help a lot.
yep, exactly. I don't know a lot of these names. Like I don't know the offensive tackle they drafted out of Ohio State. I'm not as big on knowing the linemen's names, unfortunately, because I don't watch as much college. Um, I know Hassan Haskins. I think that'll be a good kind of backup running back that you can develop a little bit. Um, I'm excited to see what some of these new pieces do. I think they're kind of in a similar stage to the Vikings, where it's like you kind of have your one tricks, and when your one tricks are injured or aged, what are you gonna do? So I think they're in
Exactly.
an interesting spot to see where that goes forward from there.
And so their over under is 9.5.
Nine, and I'm gonna take
I'm taking the under.
under. Yeah, their schedule is way too difficult.
Yeah, no, there's no chance. There's no chance to get to 9 wins.
Derrick Henry has to have like a 2,000 yard season for for them to have a chance.
No way they get to 8 wins, let alone fucking 10.
Yeah, man, 9 wins is like the ceiling for this team, and that's assuming Derrick Henry
Okay.
comes back looking like vintage. But if Derrick Henry is like coming back, kind of still injured, I 7, 8 wins maybe.
And honestly, some of them thinking about outside of the Commanders, the NFC East is a sneaky good division.
Uh,
Sneaky good. I think the
I,
Giants are going to be much better
yeah,
than before under Brian Dable.
I think they need another year, but
Oh yeah,
I'm
100%.
not counting them out. I'm just saying you didn't extend your rookie quarterback. You didn't give him that 5th year option. Um, we don't
Well,
know what Saquon's gonna look like. I really hope Saquon comes back with a fucking vengeance because I love that dude so much. I am like #1 Saquon fan. I love that dude. I really hope he comes back. I really hope he plays. I hope he crushes 2 watermelons with his thighs this year. I love that dude. Um, but yeah, this schedule is awful.
it's
I didn't know it was that bad.
yeah, it's a tough schedule. I I think that's another reason why the Colts are probably so heavily favored
Mhm.
to win this division is because the only team that's competition has such a murderer's row.
Yeah,
Being have like the fact that their like AFC West team they drew was the Chargers. That they drew the Chargers and the Raiders, and they're just and yeah, the
they play
fact
the
that they have
Chiefs
to
and the
play the AFC
Broncos.
West
Yeah, yeah.
is just absolutely awful.
And then you have to play the Packers, and then you have to play the Titans, and then you have to play the Eagles. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
that's not fun for any. Oh, and don't forget, what is it? Second week you have to play the fucking Bills. Yeah, so,
yeah, no,
good
you
luck.
play. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
anyway, so we're gonna say I'm gonna also go with you. You know what? I'm going on a limb. Jags are winning this division.
Jags.
Hot
Okay.
take.
I
I'm going with the Jags. Jags somehow pull out this division. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I just have so much blind faith in white Jesus, Trevor Lawrence.
Hey man, that hair is magical.
The hair is magical. He's gonna guide the way. Um, yeah,
Hey
that's
man.
that's for me. I'm gonna assume you're gonna go with the Colts.
Yeah, I respect
This is
your belief, but I
the
don't
most
agree with it.
logical decision.
Yeah.
The part of my brain that wants me to think with my brain is like, yes, the Colts. But
But your heart's
go,
like
you
Jackson,
know what?
Bill.
Jacksonville. Jacksonville. I'm gonna go with the best quarterback in the division.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I dispute that at all. But yeah, it's yeah, that's I don't know, man. That looking at that Titans schedule actually makes me feel bad for them because that is
Yeah,
hard. Well,
it's real.
thank you
Well, thanks
everybody.
everybody.
Yeah, appreciate you hanging
Thanks
out
for
with us.
coming.
This is the last of our AFC uh, assessments for the offseason. There are definitely some moves that still can be made. There are definitely still some notable free agents. We're still waiting to see what some of those big names do. We'll try to update you guys as soon as we find out anything. I should be posting these not too long after we record them. I gotta edit just a couple things. Um, but if you've made it all the way through to the end, don't forget to like and subscribe if you're enjoying the content. click the little bell so you receive notifications. We really appreciate you guys and your support. Thanks for helping us grow. We hope you enjoy our football takes and knowledge, and hope to see you back soon.
Yep. Love you guys. Have a good one. Peace.